All right. Well, listen, thank you. I'm considering, oh, there's 3 more people in the waiting room. Wow. Considering all that's going on this time of the year and how busy we can be with decorating and shopping and making Christmas cookies and visiting and traveling, at least I hope some people are feeling like they can do that safely a little bit. I am like amazed that we have this many people. When I picked these dates, I thought, well, you know, it'll probably just be me and one other person. So I'm impressed. We are recording this. I did remember to do that, and you probably had something that indicated when you logged on to say that you were going to be recorded. So welcome everybody, and we can start with updates on progress. And I will go first and say I did not take one more stitch since last meeting. I'm going to catch up. You guys are going to be surprised because come September 11th, 2022, I'm going to be done. And you're going to say, whoa, she was like 10 states behind and she managed to get it done. But I think I'm going to have a lot of stitching time in February. And that's when I'm planning on catching up. I've just been, you know, as we were saying at the top of the hour, just a lot of other things going on and a lot of other stitching going on and whatnot. So let's see, who's ready to share where they are?
You're fine.
I am.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I just finished.
Lion.
Okay, so that's Susan.
That's Susan.
Yep.
I just finished New York.
Oh.
So I'm working my way down, and on these 2 rows I have Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, and North Dakota left. And I am very much a monogamous stitcher, so I haven't worked on anything else but this.
Wow.
And I really love this design because every state I finish is like a mini finish. Yeah. And I'm not getting bored. I know it's a big project, but I'm not getting bored with it and wanting to go something else because I feel like every time I finish a state, I've done something. So
well, thank you, Susan. And that's a lot of people feel that way. Now I need to tell you all that Susan was a reluctant starter because you want to tell them, Susan?
Yeah, somehow along in my stash, I had the Jalen kit of this.
Right.
And the kit was, to put it mildly, was not very user-friendly.
Well, yeah.
The colors, okay. The threads were in 5 hanks.
I don't know. I really don't. I've lost touch with. I don't know how active Jan Lynn still is, but in the 80s and 90s, I worked with them very much so. I would go up to their headquarters in Massachusetts a couple times a year. They're the ones. Does anybody remember the little Aida, little tiny, they look like little miniature tote bags?
Yeah.
Okay. I designed and came up with that idea and shared it with Jan Lynn, and they manufactured those. I mean, thousands of them in the 80s. And paid me a royalty for it, which was, you know, the fair and professional way of doing it. So when they asked me about kitting American Land That We Love, I'm like, well, sure. And in fact, through those efforts, I was a cover girl. It was on the cover of, do you remember the Stitchery catalog? Anybody?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was a little 5x7 catalog, and it was on the cover of that. And Jan Lynn is the one who manufactured them. And like a lot of manufacturers, when you have 60 some colors, what they would do is bundle the colors. And what were there, like 5 bundles?
Five hanks of colors.
Okay, 5 hanks. And so what they would do is, let's say where there was like, say, 3 shades of a color that were close, they would not put them in the same bundle. So in that regard, it was user-friendly. So if there was a light, a medium, and a dark green, they would each be in different bundles. And then there was a list that would tell you how many strands of each color were in each bundle. Where Susan made it doable, and I'm telling this story, and Allison, I don't know if you were, never mind. I'm once again getting you mixed up with my friend Mindy, and I'm going to keep doing that. And one of these days, Allison, you're going to meet Mindy, and the two of you are going to say, I don't know why Jean always got us so mixed up. But at any rate.
And then you'll know we're not the same person.
Yeah, I do know that. Okay, so I'm trying to think who else was on the Great Parks trip. So we're on the Great Parks trip, and I promised Susan that I would help her do the sorting. And I'm trying to think, Susan, who sat down that night and helped us? It was
Wendy.
Yeah, Wendy was great. And Wendy has been on this group a couple of times. Anyway, so the three of us sat down with the hanks. But what Susan did that made the whole thing go so smoothly was she made a spreadsheet.
Wow, I also photocopied the list of the threads and cut out the little labels and taped them to little pink pieces of cardstock.
Yep.
So that I could match it up.
Yep.
And that has really helped me tremendously.
Oh, absolutely. So it was a great effort. And if you ever have a complicated kit like that, they have to sort threads, call Susan.
Yeah.
And ask her how she did it, because it was a great system. And part of it was, the three of us just sat down and we got it done. But Susan, right. I think it's fair to say you were ready just not to ever start it, because we couldn't get the threads sorted to get going. But and now you've already done all the way through to New York.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I do 2 rows at a time, and I do the boxes and backstitch the boxes, and then I go back and fill them in with the stakes.
I think I have it.
Yeah. She's got a system, that's for sure.
And it works for me.
Yep. Way to go. Okay. So not to be intimidated by Susan's progress. It doesn't matter what your progress is. Who else has ready to share with an update of where they are?
This is where I am. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Okay,
I'm starting.
Okay. All right.
Okay, there I am. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm just heading halfway down Illinois.
Oh, great.
Okay.
But I do want to thank, there was a person who suggested that I get a set of colored pencils and use that to mark the pattern, the hard copy pattern that I printed from my inkjet printer. And somebody else said I do that too. And to those people, thank you so very much, because while I haven't done much, what I have done has been so much more enjoyable. I'm not fighting to figure out what have I already done, where am I? I'm marking it with colored pencils. So thank y'all so much.
Well, good.
I'm just loving it.
Yeah, it's all those little tips and those systems that really make it enjoyable. So that's great.
Yes,
right. Well, that's great. Oh, somebody just said something that reminded me of something, and I was going to write it down, and I didn't do it.
Still working on America.
Back on it.
Behind.
So Illinois is one of those ones that the backstitching throws some people, and I'll tell you, I have as much as I am willing to fix mistakes and to make sure that whatever version is the most recent one is, has all the corrections in it. I'm daunted by the idea of recharting the whole thing. Because I think, well, in the time it would take me to do that, I can get 10 other new things done and out there. If I were to do it again, I would do the back stitching in a different color. There's a lot of things I would do differently if I were to republish the whole thing. And maybe one of these days when I have absolutely nothing else to do, I will do that. But Illinois is one of those ones that if you haven't done it yet, when you're stitching the logs, the color for the logs go all the way from edge of the log cabin to the edge of the log cabin. So you're going all the way across. and then on the corners,
That was a hard one.
you're back stitching like on a slant and then straight across, and then a slant straight across to get the idea of the notched logs on the end of the cabin. And I know that that's thrown a couple of people. So
So you're stitching then right over the stitch that's already there at a diagonal. Okay.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
got that part.
Yeah. So you're doing the full cross stitches of the logs, and then back stitching with a single strand over it. So when you're doing this, I think what throws people is when you're doing the slanted back stitch, you're going right over one of the legs of the cross stitch.
Yeah.
And I get that, but frankly, when we back stitch on an angle, we're doing that all the time. I mean, you know, you never say to yourself, well, this has a back stitch slant on top of the cross stitch, so I'll only do half of the cross stitch. I mean, no. So I'm trying to think, what are the other the other thing too, who has done Hawaii?
I have.
Okay, now Hawaii, to get the look of the pineapple.
Oh yeah.
Crosshatch lines are actually on page 3. And again, to do it again, I would find space for that little diagram to go with, you know, on the same page as Hawaii.
No big deal. You can find it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, what are the other things that recently have thrown people? By the way, I do know that Montana is a state. And on the newsletter that you all got, where I listed the schedule, I left Montana off. So I'll be fixing that. I got a phone call from the governor, and he asked me to please make that correction. So I'm totally showing my ignorance. The governor could be a woman for all I know. At any rate, that was embarrassing. I tell you, and Susan, one of the reasons I'm impressed that you're on New York is going through the M's. You never realize how many states start with a letter M until you're doing this project. It's like, am I ever going to get through the M's?
Yep.
Right.
Okay, let's see some more progress. Yes, that's Jamie.
Oh, no.
I'm on Tennessee.
There. I don't know who's talking. Is that Jamie? You're on Tennessee?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh my goodness. So you've gotten Michigan all the way down to Michigan? I'm trying to hold that up again for a second. Wow.
Jamie.
That's great. We're just moving right along.
Wow.
Robin, you found your camera.
Yeah.
It
wasn't a waste of time putting makeup on after all.
Just to help me help other people in the future. Was it a security setting?
No, I went on my cell phone. I gave up on my computer. I need a new computer. I think I need a new computer. This computer has seen better days.
Oh.
So, but I was going to show you I've finished Michigan, and I've started the squares for Minnesota, Mississippi, and Missouri. I haven't done the pictures yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shall I show you what I mean? If I can figure out how to show it to you. Okay.
Yeah, you have to be a bit of a contortionist.
I know. I'm putting it up on the back of my chair so I can show you what I've done so far. Okay. Are you there?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I've done so far.
Super. You guys you're just gonna be ripping right through this thing.
I'm really enjoying doing this, because it's like every little square is an accomplishment. You know, where when you do a great big sampler, you know, it's like you're never done.
Yeah.
It's like you're never done. So, you know, until the whole thing is done. So each time I finish a square, it's like, oh, this is awesome. I finished that. So, yeah. So I'm really excited about doing this. I'm really excited. I'm trying not to get too excited about getting the whole thing done, because I know it's going to take a while, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, it probably won't take as long as it took me to do this one, which was about 5 years.
I know. I remember you saying that it's not going to take me that long. I wouldn't have the patience I wouldn't have the patience to persevere that long. Well, if something took me 5 years, I'd quit.
Obviously, there were times I set it aside and, just didn't do anything with it. But, it's like those Facebook memories are one of those things that's like that. That's your conscience saying, see, I know that you were only working on such and such a state 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's like proof positive. So, all right. Anything else, Robin?
No, I remember you were saying about the confusion. I remember I contacted you about the ends of those logs.
Okay, well, good.
And I did get them done correctly. I don't know if you can see it, but can you see them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got them done. But I also I figured it out from other people, but I ran into some confusion when I was doing Iowa. The instructions on for the corn, I didn't understand that I was supposed to just do the dark color around each corn kernel. That kind of the instructions for that kind of confused me.
Yeah, and I don't know if you were on board when I said that if I were to do it over again, I would use different colors for the back stitch, and that's another one too. That couple things about Iowa for those of you who haven't done it yet. It's basic when and trying to communicate which what the directions were. I used like a line that was like a dotted line, and it was actually a dash dot dash dot, and so it ended up looking like little, just the way the dots fell looked like French knots.
Yeah, it confused me. Yeah.
So
and I knew it couldn't be French knots.
I get that, but that and the fact that the what are actually the corn silks should be a long stitch rather than a back stitch. So you're going from point A to point B to get that look of the corn silks. That's where there's a lot of confusion in general between back stitch, running stitch, and long stitch, and they really are three different things, and they each have their own use. They give you a different look.
Here.
Well, I appreciated when I started running into problems with that. For one thing, you got back to me. With
you're on the Facebook group, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah. And you got back to me about the problems with the log cabin. But not only that, when I was running into problems with the corn, I went on to Facebook, and other people who were doing the same stitch posted pictures and showed me what it was supposed to look like. So I've been getting help all the way around, from a lot of different people. Good. So, it really helps being on it. It really helps being on the Facebook page.
It's a good community. When sometimes I feel like I'm always on Facebook. Of course, I'm either on Facebook or I'm playing bridge on my iPad. But when I'm not there, it's great that other people jump in and offer their help and their insights.
What?
So
I've gotten a lot of help from other people.
I'm a little behind on Idaho, but I have a question because on Georgia, in the pattern, it doesn't have this other little line right there. Ooh. But it's in the picture.
Oh,
okay.
I don't have that on mine either.
You know what?
But it's on the color picture.
Oh, you know what? I didn't bring my copy down here with me. I was planning on doing this up in the kitchen like I usually do, but with the tree decorating and the laundry was going and the dog was barking, so I came down here. So that's Georgia?
Nice. Yeah.
Could you show
and
me
it's on the peach.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me see. Hold on.
So I can see what you did.
Right here.
It's what?
Yeah, I don't have that either.
Yeah, I didn't do
Or
it
is it the
either.
one on the bottom? Yeah, you know what? And I'm missing that on my own.
Do all squares first.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the one that's on the bottom right.
Right here, yeah.
On the chart, the only back stitching is around the edge, but there should be one more to make that little peachy thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
for some reason I looked at the color photo and the color photo had it. And then I went back and looked at the chart because I didn't have it.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm telling you, I was just so confident that I'd found all the mistakes long before now, but obviously I didn't. Okay, so bottom right peach.
How do we get these corrections?
You're getting them right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna share because
I'll put it in the Facebook group.
Okay.
And I can put it in next month's newsletter.
I'm better at that than I am stitching.
I didn't bring I think what I'll do is from the guy.
I'm at his house and forgot to bring mine with me. So at least I did Idaho.
Okay. But thank you very much, Cindy.
Oh, I keep forgetting I'm supposed to raise my hand.
There's a small discrepancy in North Carolina too.
Okay, wait, who's talking?
The tall,
I haven't gotten
Nancy, the tall dresser, the very top row of the dresser on the picture, the back stitch goes all the way across. On the pattern, it does not.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what, guys? I'm going to take a quick break and run and get my copy. I'll be right back.
What were we talking about in North Carolina?
The very tall dresser, the very top row on the picture, the back stitching underneath that top row goes all the way across. On the pattern, it does not.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was wondering why it didn't.
Yeah, I made it all the way across because it looks better.
It helps to look at the color picture.
It really does.
That are included in the
right. I think so too. Before you start, or if you think something's out of whack.
Okay, so
yeah, because in the picture in North Carolina, the back stitching does go all the way across.
Right.
Yeah, with Georgia, I just wanted to see what the colors look like on the picture, and that's why I looked, and that's when I saw the line, that extra back stitching.
By the way, I don't know if I shared this. Did I share this before that I had mine made into a booklet?
Yes.
Bound.
Yeah. I wish I'd have thought of that.
It was like, I don't know, $4 or something at Staples.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I did.
Office
Makes it so much easier.
In the picture, it looks like it goes all the way across.
Yeah. It looks better all the way across.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It kind of looks like an obvious mistake to me.
Yeah.
You know, look at it and think.
And the chair, the wingback chair, that's another one that my choice of lines for the back stitching within the chair was probably not the best. It looks sort of like railroad tracks.
No, I think it looks good.
Was that okay? All right.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. And then
I think it looks like an old-fashioned chair.
Yeah.
That does go all the way across.
Yeah, the first time I ran across that where you did like the little railroad crossings across the stitches, I was like, what the heck is that? But then it took me a while to figure out, you know, to look over in the instructions and see that, oh, that means I'm supposed to do that in jade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, when I first did the PDF, not many people had home printers. And those who did certainly didn't have color printers. Now it's like, you know, they're just as common as can be. And that's why I didn't do it that way to start with. So, okay. What else can I help clarify or whatever? Linda, you've got your hand raised. Do you have a question or a comment?
Just a comment. I have several copies of this, from the Janlin to the original one that you had on the computer, 100 years ago. Yeah. And I also have the Charted Designs of America, copyright 1989.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. That is this thing. Okay, on that one, that line.
Wait. Wait. That was. Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, that line on the peach in Georgia is there.
Okay.
On the North Carolina, that line going across that chest is not, just like it is in the newest version.
Yeah. I have a feeling that I did it as a design affectation of just making a suggestion, but I can see where
you're cutting.
I can see where it would look good either way.
Elena. Oh yeah.
And you know what I just realized looking at this, like oh, I know why I did it too. On page 16, Louisiana, the word Louisiana is the only one that's in kind of a crazy, not just a regular solid lines. And that's because it's the same color as the lines in the flag and the lines on the ship.
I was wondering about that.
Oh,
yeah.
That reminds me. On Rhode Island, the S is touching the I, but on the picture, it is not.
Sorry.
I think if you move the R over one.
Yep.
But I did it as it was charted. I'm not changing it. I noticed it afterwards. I'm not fixing it.
Hold on a second. Let me look at this. Another one I have to look at again.
Sally.
Okay. I could spend 2 hours boring you about doing lettering on charted designs.
I'll bet.
Because what's crazy is that, like, the S either has to be touching the I, or there needs to be a space between them. And because the I has the little, what we call a serif on the top and the bottom, you end up, you visually see space there that technically isn't a space. For a cross stitcher, it's not a space. But when you look at it to your eye, so that's why there isn't a full square between the I and the S, because to me, it made it too much of a gap. If you stitched it that way, I don't think that that's a problem. But these are the thousands of teeny tiny little decisions I end up making with every one of these charts in terms of spacing and what's going to look good. So while we're on that page 27, right underneath Rhode Island, South Carolina, and that's the sleeve detail, which we talked about last month. Okay, let's see, Nancy Gessner.
What about
your hand raised?
In Rhode Island, in the picture that's in what I printed out, there's a space between the end of the I and the S.
Right. It looks good either way, I think.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, because I used to do calligraphy. And there's a lot of times when you're doing calligraphy with pen and ink or whatever, you have to space it, not that there's a space between each letter, because visually it looks better.
Yeah. See, and I didn't even notice that. So the photos that I'm still using are the ones that were in the project that disappeared in shipping. So I don't still have a sample. Yeah. Huh. How about that? Okay.
I have a question.
All right.
I missed the meeting from last month. I was going to watch it. It was recorded, and apparently you didn't record it. And you just said something about the sleeves on the dress in South Carolina, so I missed that. What put on there?
In South Carolina, let me see. I don't know if I can hold this up where you can see it. See these, like, there should be a little back stitch line on the edge of the kind of making a cuff on the dress sleeves.
Oh, okay.
I think I
So
put that correction on the Facebook
part,
group.
That little extra part that protrudes out on each sleeve, there should be a back stitch line down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on the Facebook group where I kind of did kind of a recap of the meeting, I put it in there.
Okay, I haven't been going on the Facebook group as much. I've just been kind of winging it on my own, since apparently I shouldn't be doing that. Guess I should be going on there and checking things out a little bit more often. But I drew the lines now so that I know I'm supposed to do that.
Yep.
Are the back stitching on the South Carolina sleeves the 3371?
Yes.
Or is it a different color? It's still okay.
Yeah, 337.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'll be
Erin asked a question while we were getting started that I'm going to ask her to repeat now.
Okay, so when you've got your finished product and you're preparing it for framing or whatever, pillow or whatever, I wondered about putting fusible interfacing on the back of it to kind of secure any kind of, I mean, like kind of smooth it, and that way, if you've got knots or whatever, it may kind of help. Does anybody do that?
I have mixed feelings about iron-on interfacing. When I sew as a home sewer, nowadays they're calling themselves a sewist, SEWIST. Anyway, whatever you want to call us, people who sew with a sewing machine. I use iron-on interfacing as needed. Now, iron-on interfacings have improved greatly in the 30 or 40 years that they've been out there. In fact, I just recently was introduced to a product that is far superior to what's been out there before. And I'm trying to think what it's called. I might have it on my phone. Anyway, iron-on interfacing has a tendency to not smooth fabric out. Anybody else who sews a lot, who's had that experience, you'll actually get waves in your fabric. This particular one that I'm taking a sewing class right now. I've been sewing since I was 9 years old. The first thing I ever made was a skirt. It was purple and it had white rickrack on it, and I just thought that I was like, the most fashionable. Where was it? Okay, yeah. So I wore that skirt everywhere. I'm sure I embarrassed my mother. I'm sure that if I looked at it today, the rickrack's probably not even sewn on straight. But at any rate, I say this all to say that I've been sewing with a sewing machine for a long time. But there's a project I really wanted to make, and there was a sample in the quilt store, and the person who was helping me said, we have a class for that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need a class. And she said, well, the teacher has made like hundreds of these, and she has a lot of shortcuts and tips. And I thought, you know what? It's wintertime. I'm finally getting out and about just a little bit. I just want to be out with people where I feel like it's safe. And hey, if the price of admission will give me a few tips on how to make this more efficiently, then I'm game. And it has been. It's been a really good experience. And I find that by taking classes like that, it puts me in the position of a student rather than a teacher, and I can better identify with what you all go through when you're learning something new. And it's a role reversal thing it's been very, very good for me. But anyway, so we got to talking about iron-on interfacings, and that's when she introduced me to this particular brand, and it is much better. But Erin, back to your question. In terms of framing, I don't see a need for it at all. I don't know how it would enhance or function in any way to make the framing job easier. And in fact, if you don't get that interfacing ironed on exactly square, if your fabric is out of kilter even a little bit, then when you go to stretch it, you're not going to be able to straighten it out. So in that regard, it's a deterrent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the purist in me says, you know, why add something that you don't know how it's going to hold up over time? Yet, in that sewing class, making this particular bag, and the first one I'm actually making as a gift for someone, so I can't show it to you yet, but by our February or March meeting, I'll be able to show it to you. It's pretty cool. Anyway, but I'm not expecting that to last 100 years. I mean, I'll the one I'm making for myself, I'll be happy if I'm using it 10 years from now, 15 years from now. So that's a concern for your needlework. I can't say that I haven't ever used iron-on interfacing on my needlework. I'm trying to think of when I would have. I haven't used it for pillows. I don't know. Maybe a bookmark. But so, I mean, because the purpose of interfacing is it's a stabilizer. And it adds a heft to the fabric, say for a collar or lapels in a jacket. I mean, it has a very specific function.
And that's why with mine being such a, you know, a big count, I mean a small count, with it being 11, I'm realizing I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to finish it, whether I am going to do in a frame, or if there's another, you know, I've seen people using cross stitching quilts lately.
Now,
so I wondered about doing that with it.
Okay. Now that's a whole different. That's probably a place where I would start and thinking about it. And yes, I have seen it done as a banner, where basically the cross stitch piece is like a center panel, and they're sashing around the outside edge, and people put a like a channel at the top so they can hang it from a rod or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I haven't finished it yet because I'm kind of intimidated by it, but years ago I started a Christmas Advent calendar embroidered, and you're supposed to hang it like a banner across dowels, you know, with tassels and the whole 9 yards, and you're supposed to put interfacing on the back of that, and that's why I haven't continued with it, because I'm kind of intimidated with putting the interfacing on it.
I would say hold on, I'm looking to see if I have it on my phone.
Jean, did you use the interfacing on the humbug?
I'm sorry, pardon me?
Did you use it on that little humbug? Your little pin cushion scissor fob?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, so. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And something like that where it's going to be a shape would be a good function for it.
Jean,
Erin, I will find that brand to recommend to you, because when I think about something that big that's hanging, even if you are making a sashing around the four sides, you will either need to support that piece by actually quilting it to batting or something, or the interfacing. And I think either one of them would be good. Where I would just want to clarify, when you asked the question originally, in terms of like, I've heard people like use interfacing because they're afraid that their threads will come undone. They feel like that it kind of anchors them. And to that person, I would say you need to do a better job anchoring your threads. Don't use the interfacing as a fix-all for that. You need to anchor your threads properly, and then you won't have that problem. But I will get that brand for you and let you know what it is, because it really is. It was a game changer for me.
Thank you. Is this a brand of interfacing that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, because I want to know about that for my for my calendar.
Oh yeah, I'll share it with all of you.
Yeah.
Jean, 6 stitches. Jean, I'm a quilting teacher, and I only use that when I do t-shirt quilts to stabilize the jersey. But I would not use it on the back of needlework. I use HTC. Fusible interfacing, and it's a fabric with the interfacing on, so it does not stretch out of shape, but it holds the form, and it's very easy to use. But I would not use it on any stitching.
Yeah. Now, to continue this chat, then, because one of the things that you could do, Erin, is stabilize it with batting, and you wouldn't have to like machine quilt it or even quilt the whole thing, but let's say wherever the states are intersecting, if you just did like a little, even just stitch a little plus where they are connecting, that if you sew it, you make a sandwich, you'd have, and jump in here and add your quilt teaching expertise to this as well. But what I see is a sandwich where you've got your cross stitch, you've got some kind of batting, and then you've got a lining, and you would quilt through all 3 layers. And I think you'd be very happy with that.
Okay, so just where so you're saying just behind each individual design?
No, I would do it like in the gap between where the corner, like thinking of as like an intersection where they intersect would be one possibility. And you could even get, if you had a quilting thread that matched your fabric color, which would probably be pretty easy, you could actually put an X right there where the corners meet. And that would be enough. What do you think?
Me?
No? Yeah.
Sally?
I don't really think that would do it any justice. I think that there's too much of a chance of the fabric stretching when you go to do that. And I wouldn't do that.
What would you do?
I wouldn't put it into a piece that big.
Oh.
Because of the linen threads, and it would go askew. I don't think you'll be able to keep it straight.
Okay.
No. All right. You could try it, but I don't think it's going to work.
This isn't a project where you just try it for experimental sake. I go with safety on this one.
The thing is, after you finish it and you wash it and you iron it, I always iron it on a Turkish towel on the back side, but you still have opportunity of letting the threads go crooked on you. Don't you think, Jean? The linen threads stretching?
Well, she would really need almost like, I envision almost like an old-fashioned quilting frame where you basically are stretching it out, stretching the whole sandwich out, so you know it's square while you're doing through all the layers at the same time.
Right.
No, I think just going with framing it is probably going to be the end result, because with framing it, I'll be able to, keep it in line. So, okay.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, when you put that much work into it, you don't want to blow it when you get to the finish line. That's for sure.
No.
So, all right.
All right. Thank you all for your experience. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So,
Judy's been very patient with her hand up.
Yes, I use Pellon SFF 101.
That's what it is. It's SF 101.
Yes, and I've had good luck with it. I iron my piece and make sure it's straight and flat, and then I put that on top and pat the iron. I don't move it back and forth. I just pat the iron down, and it works perfectly for me.
Yeah, that's what our teacher recommended for not getting that ripple effect.
Yes.
I was really surprised at what difference it made.
Yep.
Because I have hardly ever used iron-on interfacing other than like on my scissor fob. And when I say that, not using iron-on interfacing, even when I make garments, I don't tend to use it. I would much rather just use old-fashioned interfacing that I have to base in place and
this one right here.
And not take the chances of getting that ripple effect.
Like pinky.
This one.
Nope, next to it. Yeah.
That one.
Okay.
I don't do it. I have it.
Let's see, Ellen, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's on this subject, but maybe a little bit different. I have on several floss tubes seen where people have stitched. It's usually some type preschoolers, Santas, or something like that on 7 count, whatever. And you know, if they're going to make that a pillow, then the holes are so big that they put something on there. They iron something or do something on there to keep the batting or whatever from coming through. I mean, so is anybody familiar with anybody who's done that? And what are they putting on there? I mean, they literally are.
I don't know, but I would use an inner lining before I would use an interfacing.
An inner lining.
Yeah, and let me say underlining more than
underlining. Okay.
I even do that with my frame pieces. If because with linen, when you lay linen, let's say especially if you have a color of linen and you lay it on a white acid-free foam board, you actually will see the white through the weave of the linen where you don't have stitches. So I pick a fabric, 100% cotton fabric, that is as close to the fabric color as I can get. And I stretch that around my foam board before I stretch the piece of needlework. So I'm basically stretching the cotton around it, and then I stretch my linen around it. I also use it in white work, even if the linen color is white and the acid-free foam cord is white. I will use like a beige or a pale rose so that the white work stitches will pop out a little bit more.
Okay, so you do that even if in framing or something like the scenarios that you're talking about. It's not just, like I say, I've seemed like to me one of them was, I don't remember the size, but you know, they were afraid their crushed walnut stuff would fall out, which as big as those holes were, I think it would. So
there's a fabric called Clostern.
Yeah, that's it.
That's very homespunny looking that I can see would be perfect for that style. I've used it myself. And when I make a pillow, there's something between even if I'm using a pillow form, there's something between the pillow form and my needlework. I will make a sleeve that I put the pillow form in and then make the pillow to insert it. But there's some sort of underlining that's between my needlework and the stuffing. Because play with it sometime if you've got pieces, even if you just have pieces of colored paper, lay your needlework on something white, like have like a piece of tan paper and a piece of white paper right next to each other. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did this on one of my floss tubes. And then lay the needlework where it's bridging both pieces, and you'll be surprised at how different your fabric color will look. And if it's a dark color, it really it enriches that color. So if you've got a brown and you do an underlining with a brown fabric, it just adds a depth to it that I think that you'll find very pleasing. Good topic. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about that.
Thank you so much.
All right, that sounds good. Let's see. I'm once again jealous of Sally Malley. Did I see an adult beverage passing hands there? Tell you what, you two know how to do this in style. I'm
gotta go to her.
I'm coming over to your house.
Okay. We just had dinner last night. We had strip steak.
And a chocolate martini.
Aha.
You're all welcome, everybody.
All right, there you go. I think I had a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Well, you know where Norristown is. I'm only like not even 10 miles from there.
What's not 10 miles from here?
Norristown is not more than 10, is less than 10 miles from there.
Well, yeah, you know that I grew up in that area.
I know.
Yeah.
Changed a lot.
The smell of Wonder Bread when you drove through Norristown.
I know.
That's where my dad worked.
Montgomery County Extension Service there too.
Yep. How about that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
2 years.
Yep. All right. Well,
I think of it every time you smell a loaf of Wonder Bread, huh?
I do. It's only that and my dad was he wasn't one of the bakers. He was one of the mechanics that kept the machines running that that were used in the commercial bakery, and he was also very handy and a craftsman and a carpenter. And one day the blades that they would use for slicing the loaves of bread, apparently every once in a while, if one of them would break or they had to be replaced or whatever, he brought one home one time, and he eventually cut it into lengths and added a wooden handle to it and made each one of us a bread knife. I'm in the middle of 5 girls, so we all got a bread knife, and I still have that. And I think of him whenever I use it when I make my homemade bread.
Oh, a nice little souvenir.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so a little bit of Norristown right upstairs in my kitchen. So
that's cool.
Well, this was a great meeting. I have not, I was looking at the calendar to figure out if we follow the same pattern, then January 8th would be our next gathering. And I need to just double check that date. I think I'm good for that. February is going to be a little bit tricky because that second Saturday of February is when I'll be doing my everything you always wanted to know about cross stitch but didn't know who to ask. Talk, lecture, roundtable discussion, whatever it's going to be called, down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I'm trying to figure out.
So will that be a floss tube or is that going to be interactive?
I don't think it'll be a floss tube. I don't know how I would do that, but what I need to do is to figure. Basically, I'm gonna be traveling from like February 2nd until like March 2nd. And so I've got to figure out how to do my floss tube episodes and do this Zoom gathering while I'm traveling. That's
Are you
gonna be
cross stitch cupboard?
Yes, I'll be at the cross stitch cupboard on February 12th. I think is that
February 12th.
Yeah. If that's a Saturday. Yeah. Yeah.
I envy any of you who have a cross stitch store near you, because I live in the Buffalo, New York area, and we have nothing here. There's nothing here.
You have nothing in Buffalo, but how far? And I realize New York State is a big state. Besides once living in Norristown, I also lived for a while in Sodus Point, New York, up there on Lake Ontario. But there's an excellent store in the Rochester area.
That's
Rochester's about 80 miles. So
that's a trip.
That's a day trip.
Well, yeah. You know what? Okay, let me just say this.
What's the store? What store?
Let me just say this about that, and then it's called Hobby House Needleworks, and I'll be there in April.
Yeah, that's a great shop.
Yeah, cool. I mean, we're talking about
like 6 hours.
Excellent shop. It would be worth it to drive 800 miles, much less 80 miles. But when you talk about that, you know, and I'm please know that I'm not belittling or making a comment about anybody's personal situation, because sometimes just being able to get in the car and go some places is a lot harder for some people than others. But most people would be thrilled to have a needlework store 100 miles from where they live.
Well, what's the name of that place again? Hobby House
Needleworks.
Hobby House Needleworks.
And it's in Pittsford, New York.
Okay.
And I'll be there. It's April 8th, 9th, in that range. But at any rate, so my comment is more that, because before, you know, when I started the Facebook group, a stitching road trip, and was the administrator for a couple of years, I just gave that up a couple of months ago. But it was interesting that one person would post and say, you know, I don't have any needlework stores anywhere near me, and it would end up they would have like 3 within 50 miles. But to them, that was too far to go.
No, I would go 80 miles if I had an afternoon free to do that. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, and
Robin, it's worth the trip. I've been there. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah,
absolutely. You, and I've gone 75 miles to get there, because I'm going from Syracuse.
Oh, okay. So we're coming from opposite directions.
Someday we could just go and meet there.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
It's worth the trip. It's a wonderful shop.
Right.
Okay.
Now, and I realize there's a difference between that. If you have to jump, if you're missing like one skein of floss, you know, no, you're not going to drive 80 miles to go and get it. But yeah, it's definitely, and from what I understand, and Kathy, you can, and those of you who have been there, let's see who else Jamie has been there. I understand that there's cute little shops, and there's places to go and have lunch. I mean, it's just a nice day out.
Yeah, from here.
Who said that they would meet me there? Who was that?
That was Kathy Stern.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to. If she's on Facebook, she'll have to message me. So
okay, sounds good, Robin.
Message me, and we can work that out.
Well, listen, I mean,
I'm always up for a girl's afternoons out. So
that would be perfect.
Use the JFN SAL group and just say, hey, 4 hours on this date, this is where I'm going. Anybody want to meet up? You know?
Okay. Sounds good. After the holidays, we'll find a day that it's not snowing either where you are or where I am.
Yeah. That sounds like a plan. After the holidays, sounds like a plan.
Okay, sounds good, Robin.
There you go.
Good.
All right, sounds good. And maybe I'll even see you in April.
I'd love to do that.
I'm signed up.
I'll have to get the exact date, so I'll know when you're going to be there. I'd love to do that.
Kathy, which class are you taking?
I'm taking the morning one.
So that's the Melbourne sampler?
Yes, the Melbourne sampler.
Yeah, and then the afternoon I'm teaching how to design your own personal sampler.
Yeah, that sounds intriguing too, but I'm going to just do the one.
It would be tough to do both of them.
Yeah.
And saying, Allison, you're gonna now. Do I have the right person in place this time?
I'm not Melinda. You're right. I am taking the design your own sampler for sure. I've all signed up.
Good. That's
and great. It's only like a 3-hour drive for me, which is awesome. I don't have to deal with flights and because I'm up in Canada, I don't have to deal with flights and changing planes and get all that rigmarole.
Yeah. Good. This will be easy. Just put a good book on tape.
Yeah.
In your
floss tube or something.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, Jean, this is Ellen. Anytime you feel like coming down to Texas, we'd love to have you.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Making lots of friends here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've decided I'm going to try to do this annually. In fact, next year I might, 2023, it might be more than 4 weeks, but I decided that it's time for me to be somewhat of a snowbird and just plan a couple of teaching events so that I'm just gone when it's cold and miserable.
In a warmer climate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also, while I'm there, I mean, what started this whole thing is I'm going on a cruise where I'm not teaching. And when I started thinking about, well, if I was going to drive down to Fort Lauderdale, where can I stop and what can I do on my way down there? So that's how that all came about. So, yeah.
Are you teaching a class in February at the cupboard?
It's going to be more like a roundtable discussion. It's called Everything I always wanted to know about cross stitch but didn't know who to ask.
Okay, because Terry's here and she's down there at that time. Do you have to sign up for it or?
Yeah, well, when this came about yesterday.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I called Karen. I said, "Hey, Karen, I'm coming down there, and I'm going to be getting on a cruise ship on February 13th." And I mean, we've known each other for 40 years, so it was like, I would love to see you while I'm down there. And she said, "Well, let's do something at the cupboard, and what can I do?" And so that's what we just kind of pulled it all together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So call Karen and tell her.
Yeah, Terry, you going over out of the picture? She should sit here and with her martini. She's the one that she took a class from you down there 2 years ago, I think.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
You might know who she is. She's.
Hi, Jean.
Hi.
I just
so are you going to be so are you going
yeah, so you took
your sampler.
So it was 2 years ago I was down there and I taught the thistle and I think I taught Janet Irving.
Janet Irving,
yeah, the Janet Irving sampler.
Yeah.
So this is going to be way more informal than that. We decided it was too short notice to try to do an actual class.
I'm going to talk these two to come visit me and then we'll go take the class.
Yeah, well, come get on the cruise ship with me. I'm sure they have chocolate martinis on the cruise ship. And if not, we can always teach the bartender how to make them.
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, listen.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So are you going to, so did you say you're going to be teaching classes at Hobby House Needleworks in Pittsburgh in April?
Yes.
Okay. How do I go about signing up for
go to their website?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or call them. You just do it right through the shop.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
All right. Sounds great.
Because I've learned a lot from you already. I'd love to meet you face to face.
Yeah, I would like that too. Thank you, Robin. Okay, well, meanwhile, the Christmas tree decorating is going on upstairs and I need to go and make sure that everything's being done right, the right way.
Yeah.
I'm one of the ones that like the ornaments have to be dangling. They can't be like, sort of cocked. They can't be, yeah, it just has to look like
you can't have the big ones on top. The big ones have to be on the bottom.
Right. Oh, and you have to have depth too. I mean, there have to be ornaments near the trunk as well as
and perfectly spaced.
There you go. Oh, and like there can't be too many red ones all in the same.
You sound like me.
All right. Listen, y'all, have a great month, and I will see you in January.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Bye, Jean. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.